Right, let's start today's session. This is the second session of .NET package course. Okay, this is the second session of .NET package course. Already, first just basic demo session we completed in the last session. That was yesterday. In that session, I already explained that. So I'm going to cover these subjects like C#.NET. It is a programming language which is used to write coding part for the application development. ASP.NET. It stands for Active Server Page. ASP.NET is not a programming language. It is a web technology or server-side technology, which is used to design web applications like website designing. And next, a SQL Server, that is database design purpose to store customer information or end user information into a separate storage area purpose, that is SQL Server we use. And next, ADV.NET, ActiveX Data Object. It is a native driver software. Especially this can be used to communicate from front-end application to back-end application. Front-end application means C#.NET with ASP.NET. Back-end application means SQL Server. Okay. Next, I'm going to cover ASP.NET MVC, ASP.NET MVC Model View Controller, and ASP.NET Web API. ASP.NET Web API also will come. These subjects I'm going to cover in this .NET basic package. So duration of this complete .NET package course is 4 months. I explained it clearly, and 4 months minimum is required. And first, initially, every week, Monday to Saturday, I'll take the sessions, and Monday to Thursday, C#.NET and SQL Server parallelly will continue. In every weekend, SQL Server sessions I'll conduct. Okay. So this is what I explained in the last session. And .NET is the product of Microsoft, I said. And .NET was announced by Bill Gates in the year of 2000, and the first version of .NET was released in the year of 2001. But .NET stands for Network Enabled Technology. But actually, according to Microsoft, there was no abbreviation for .NET. Only programmers will call it as Network Enabled Technology. Okay, Network Enabled Technology. But according to Microsoft, there was no abbreviation for .NET. Only we can call it as .NET. And from the first version of .NET, there are so many versions are there, like .NET Framework version, Visual Studio versions also there. I'll explain you today what are the .NET Framework version and Visual Studio version. And coming to this next here. So .NET, what is .NET actually? .NET is a framework tool, we can call this. What is .NET? .NET is a framework tool. Okay. .NET is a framework tool, sir. .NET is a framework tool. .NET is a framework tool. Using this .NET framework tool, so we can develop .NET based applications. I'm saying that without a .NET framework, there is no .NET. So .NET framework is the core component of .NET only. So framework is nothing but it's a complete set of rules and regulations. Microsoft team has designed the .NET framework like that. So some set of rules and predefined libraries, predefined classes, they implemented a lot of predefined functions, and they are giving .NET framework software to the developers, and developers should use this .NET framework software and implement the applications using .NET. So .NET is a framework tool, so which supports around 60 plus programming languages. In that, 9 programming languages are designed by Microsoft. But what are that 9 programming language? I'm going to list out here: C#.NET, just VB.NET, VB.NET, C++.NET, JScript.NET, JScript.NET, and next F#.NET, F#.NET, J#.NET, J#.NET, and Windows PowerShell, Windows, PowerShell, Iron Ruby, like Iron Ruby, and Iron Python. So these are the .NET support languages. Okay, .NET support languages. Not only these, and remaining also there, like around 60 plus programming languages .NET supports. Means as a programmer, you can able to choose any programming language to write to develop .NET applications. But majority of the real-time applications, most of the people will use in companies C# .NET programming language mostly. 90 plus percentage of people will use C# .NET. So that's what we are focusing on, only C# .NET. Okay, yes. And now coming to this .NET framework, when we use our applications will run only on Windows kind of operating system. So initially, in the beginning of .NET, .NET only were support only Windows-based operating system. When it comes to .NET Core platform, Microsoft has released .NET Core in the year of 2016. From there, so .NET Core framework is there. .NET Core framework. So when we use this .NET Core framework, we will make .NET applications are platform independent. Means it will run on Windows operating system, Windows, Unix, Linux, Mac OS, anywhere we can able to run. But only when we use .NET framework, means .NET framework when we use. So it can be able to run on only Windows-based operating systems. Windows-based means like Windows 7, Windows X, previously whatever it is there, Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows. Okay, this is what actually, Windows only. But nowadays, most of the people will use .NET framework, core framework only. Even I'm going to discuss all the concepts which is related to C#, ASP.NET, everything with the .NET Core framework only. So which will make platform independent only. Okay. So initially before 2016, .NET supports only on Windows-based operating system. After 2016, when they were released a .NET Core platform, so it can be able to run on any operating system only. Okay. Let me show you here some .NET framework versions and Visual Studio versions. So what is Visual Studio here? Visual Studio is a editor tool or editor software, sir. Using that editor software, we can able to develop .NET applications. As I said that in the last session, so every programmer compulsory need to use some editor platform like tools, that is software editor, where they can able to write the code and where they can able to edit the code only. Okay, so that is editor tool. I'm going to show you some .NET framework versions and Visual Studio versions. Now you can see here .NET framework version, Visual Studio. Visual Studio is just an editor tool or editor software. As a .NET programmer, we can use this Visual Studio to write our code, to edit our code, to implement the application, all those things. And it also called as Integrated Development Environment. IDE we can call it as Integrated Development Environment. And .NET Framework 1.0, which was released in the year of 2002. At that time, Microsoft has given VS. Name of the Visual Studio is only VS. Later, they were released many versions of .NET Framework, like 1.1, Visual Studio 2013, 2003, 2.0, Visual Studio 2005, 3.0, not applicable. That means at the time of .NET Framework 3.0 released, Microsoft were recommend to use Visual Studio 2005 software only. They were not released any Visual Studio version. And now coming to this 3.5, VS Visual Studio 2008, 4.0, Visual Studio 2010, 4.5, Visual Studio 2012, Visual 4.6, Visual Studio 2015, 4.7, Visual Studio 2017, 4.7.1, and 2, Visual Studio 2019, and 4.8 means Visual Studio 2022. So now we can see .NET Framework 4.8 is the latest version. .NET Framework version I'm speaking. But .NET Core version is different. .NET Core is there, .NET Core 3.0 is there, .NET Core 5.0 is there, .NET Core 6.0 is there. When it comes to ASP.NET, we use .NET Core 6.0, latest version of .NET Core also we use. So coming to the framework version 4.8, which is related to Visual Studio 2022. In our class, I'm going to use these tools only, sir. Editor tools. Tool number 1 is Visual Studio 2022 along with Framework 4.8. As I said that just now, without a .NET framework, there is no .NET. .NET is what? It's a framework tool. Compulsory .NET framework is important, sir. Why? Because .NET framework means the Microsoft people, designed completely uh, all the rules and regulations, okay, all the syntactical rules and regulations, all the core libraries included in that framework. You must and should use that framework only. So without .NET framework, there is no .NET. So when we install this Visual Studio 2022, automatically this .NET framework will framework 4.8 will install, sir. Okay, it will install framework 4.8 automatically. So no need to install separately .NET Framework 4.8 software. Okay. So next, I recommend to install not only Visual Studio 2022 along with VS 2022, SQL Server 2019 also I strongly recommend. 2019 SQL Server. SQL Server, why? Because we need to communicate after few sessions of C#, .NET, even ASP.NET. So always we will interact with the database only to store the data into database or to retrieve the data from database, all these things. So that purpose SQL Server 2019 is recommended. There are two software tools are required if you want to work with .NET applications. One is Visual Studio 2022 and next one is SQL Server 2019 software. To install these tools, software tools, okay, 64-bit operating system, Windows, or else any other operating system also if you have, you can. But basically I have Windows operating system, but I can able to use .NET Core platform. Once I develop .NET Core platform application, that can be able to run on any operating system also, no problem at all. And minimum 2 GB, above 4 GB RAM is required. 2 GB or above 4 GB RAM is required. HD hard disk space is 20 GB, means C drive space. So because Visual Studio and SQL Server software tools, software editor tools are heavyweight softwares. It takes a lot of time to install, as well as it will take 5 to 6 GB each one. It will occupy in the C drive space only. So that's what here two softwares required. And now to download and install, how to download and install simply, sir. So Visual Studio I'm going to show you right now. So to download and install Visual Studio, simply you can go to Google. You can go to Google and type download and steps. Type in download Visual Studio 2022. You can type it. So I recommend you. You can see, go to Google and simply download Visual Studio 2022. Visual Studio 2022. Once you click on this, you will be able to prompt visualstudio.microsoft.com official website. You just click on this first link. So once you click on this first link, now coming to this.
यार वो थोड़ा सा आवाज चली गई थी ना, फिर ट्रेनिंग ज्वाइन करी थी.
Now you can see. So here it is the visualstudio.microsoft.com here. Once you go to this website, there is clearly, you can see Visual Studio download option is there. In the drop down list clearly, there are three options are there: community, professional, and enterprise. So I recommend you to download community version only. Now you can see when I place mouse pointer on community Visual Studio 2022, it says that free for individual developers, academic users, and open source for faculties and students point of view. This is best option, and no need to purchase and no need to get any license. So we can use freely community editor. But whenever you go through professional editor, now you can see free trial for individual use. Individual use means you can able to use for individual use, and small team size also you can use, but it is a free trial only, sir. Trial means what? Only they will provide almost 3 months trial period they will give. After 3 months, your software evolution period will expire. You have to buy from Microsoft officially if you want to go with professional 2022. And enterprise edition also you can see free trial for organizations. Okay, those who are working with a big size team, for them it's required to use enterprise edition with full features, all .NET applications. But it is also free trial version. Hardly they'll give 3 months usage. After that, they will ask you to purchase on. But student point of view, this is the better community version. You can click on it and simply download it. You can see once I click on it, and it will ask you to automatically download it. You can see Visual Studio setup.exe is there. So once you download this, what we need to do, simply you can go to download folder. Okay. So just let me go with still downloading. Let it be finish the download. After finishing download, okay, let it be wait. So after finishing the download, so you have to go to Visual Studio. Okay. Yes, it is completed almost. Now close this. You can go to download folders now. Already in my computer Visual Studio I have installed. So downloads. Now you can see Visual Studio setup is there. You can double click on it. Once you double click on it, it will allow you to click on next, install it. That's not a big deal to download and install Visual Studio software. No problem at all. If you try to install from your side, if you don't get installation successfully, then I will assist you how to download and install clearly. No worries at all. Okay. So that is Visual Studio. What about SQL Server? Again, after successful download and install Visual Studio and SQL Server 2019. Now you can see download SQL Server 2019. This is the latest version. And you can go to first link, SQL Server downloads. Click on this link. And you can see come down here. So I recommend to you to download here. This is one. Developer Edition I recommend to download. So SQL Server 2019 Developer is a full-featured free edition licensed for use as a development and test database in non-production environment. Like click on download it. Once you click on download it, you will get a SQL Server setup.exe, and that also you can able to install it clearly. So these two softwares need to be required to work with the .NET application creation with all applications. Okay. Yes. Next, coming to this. Next, why .NET
Sir,
support?
even we follow like first .NET or SQL or anyone we can install first or second.
Anyone you can install. Actually, in the older version, I was suggested that to my students, first you have to go with SQL Server, thereafter Visual Studio, but not nowadays not required. Both you can able to use anyone only. No issues at all.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So now why .NET actually here? .NET is a framework tool, okay, which supports many languages, but we use C# .NET here. And then why .NET here? Why .NET means .NET is used to develop different types of applications. Okay. So comparatively, like Java is the competitor of .NET always, you know that. So when we go for Java, Java is also good for application development, real-time applications. But when we go for Java, it's take little bit time taking process compared to .NET. So when we go for .NET, maximum ready-made resources are available in the .NET platform. So as a programmer, our contribution is very less compared to Java writing code. So it will be easy to implement the logic in .NET, especially because many major core libraries will come by default according to application what you choose. Okay, different applications are there. Whatever the applications you choose, according to that application, core libraries will come by default. So the advantage is what already they implement something for you, and they are asking you to use directly. As a .NET developer, you should know how to reuse that. Only the thing is how to reuse that. So that's what we are learning .NET here. So once we download, install all these softwares, so automatically the major core libraries will come into the picture, and that we can able to consume according to our usage. So .NET, why? Because it is used to design and develop applications. What kind of applications we can design and develop? Yes, coming to this. So mainly, we need to focus. These are the major applications. So console applications are there. It's completely CUI facilities. CUI means command user interface or character user interface. So in console application, mainly we are going to deal with characters only. majority portion, like you are going to give input as a characters, and you are going to get output also in the form of characters. So that is console applications. Console application programs are like basics. Programs are similar to C++ programs, where we can write and where we can execute in Windows command prompt, same like this one. But next other application is Windows Forms application. This is GUI, graphical user interface. So that means we are going to deal with forms and user registration form, normal login forms we can prepare, and we can deal with the buttons, labels, text boxes, and so on. But though this is GUI application, it's not a web application, sir. This web application is different, Windows Forms application is different. But these two applications you can consider, these two are standalone or desktop application. Standalone or desktop application means what? The application once we design and develop, and where on which mission you install, which computer you install, there only it will be run. That is standalone or desktop. So these are like the product-based applications, we can say that. Hope you understand. Product-based means what? Suppose Microsoft has designed one product called Microsoft Office, MS Office. Okay, MS Office is one product. On which mission you install MS Office, on that particular computer only it will be open, it will work. Okay, so every device is required to install that MS Office. That is product-based application. Suppose Visual Studio is a product-based application which is designed by Microsoft, and on every student computer you have to install Visual Studio. Then only you can able to open it and you can able to work on it. These are kind of product-based applications. Okay, mainly Microsoft company will focus on their products only, not that is service. That Microsoft company is not a service-based. It is service-based, but not that much of extent level. So service-based means like you can see Infosys, okay, Capgemini, and so what you can say TCS, okay, what we can say TCS, Tata Consultant Service, and so many companies are there. Okay, so Cognizant. So these are all service-based companies, but mainly IBM and Microsoft, you can see that are product-based companies. They will focus on their products. So they're having huge business in the product-based applications. So product-based means they will sell each and every product to each and every organization separately. So service-based application is not like that. Only one time they will get the funds from the client requirement, and they will release that product application into the market, and end users can be used here. So you are going to use Facebook, that is service-based. You're going to use Flipkart.com, that is service-based. You are going to use Amazon.com, Swiggy. So many applications are there that are all service-based. Product-based means these are product-based, like MS Office, Visual Studio, any software application which is going to be installed, that is product based. We are installing that, we need to buy it, but some of the extent they will provide free only. For example, community edition is their Visual Studio, that is free only, product based. But full version, full featured versions, they will sell that, so you have to purchase from the Microsoft only. So these are the product based applications. And but you can see using .NET we can also design and develop web applications. Web application means website designing. These are called distributed applications or online applications. These web applications especially designed using what? ASP.NET only. Yes, we are focusing completely ASP.NET with web applications only. In C#.NET in initial stage, main C#.NET topics including object-oriented programming, all the topics like variables, data types, operators, control statements, okay, functions, everything will cover in console application point of view. And database connectivity programs with SQL Server, I will cover with Windows Forms application. And web application, which is related to completely ASP.NET only. So once I start ASP web application, we will focus completely on ASP.NET web applications with interacting with SQL Server. So many projects also we will deal with web applications. But apart from these major three applications, sir, what kind of applications also we can design and develop using .NET? Okay, these are the three basic applications which will focus more in our sessions. And apart from these applications, okay, so there are so many applications are there, like WPF is there. WPF stands for what actually? Windows Presentation Foundation. Windows Presentation Foundation is there. Windows Presentation Foundation applications. WPF is the extension of Windows Forms. Next, WCF is there. WCF, Windows Communication Foundation. Windows Communication Foundation, we can say that. Windows Communication Foundation. Windows Communication Foundation. And next, Windows services are there. Windows services also we can able to create using .NET framework. Windows services, and web services, and next, so language integrated query applications, MVC, model view control, and mobile applications also we can develop using .NET. Like Xamarin tool is there for mobile application, and gaming applications also we can develop. Gaming applications. Okay, gaming applications. So gaming applications also we can develop using .NET framework. So there are so many things are there here. Okay, yes. So business application also we can develop, sir. Business application means suppose some clients will ask according to their business needs. Okay, they'll give the requirement and we can easily fulfill their requirement clearly. So using .NET case only. So business application and network programming also we can design. Yes, in network programming also we can use .NET framework programming, network programming, and more. Not only this, and more applications we can design. So there are so many kinds of things are there. Okay, so these are the application area where we can use .NET exactly. But wherever you can use, whenever we go for .NET, compulsory you have to include, you have to install .NET framework with Visual Studio, with SQL Server. Then only you can able to develop this kind of applications. Possibilities there, sir, clearly. Okay, yes. Now coming to this, sir, here application area is okay, but coming to this, how the code is going to be executed, what is the process of execution. For example, our focus is mainly C#.NET only. Whenever I start writing the code using C#.NET, okay, so whenever I write the code, that is code is actually generally bytes code we can say, or else source code we can call it as generally. So how that source code is going to be compiled, what is the process behind the scenes, how it will be executed, I'm going to explain you. Normally, whenever you consider a basic languages like C, C++ languages, whatever the code you write in your computers or editor tool, that code is what simply source code. Source code means before going to compile, whatever the raw code we have written, that is source code only. That code generally compiled by its own compiler. Every programming language is having its own compiler, that is called language compiler. The source code is compiled by respective language compiler and generate what? Native code. Native code in the sense byte code or system understandable code or mission code or any format you can say it. Operating system understandable code. That code can be transferred to operating system for further execution. So that is the case. Now coming to this, .NET program execution code is different somewhat. Let me show you the clear diagrammatic representation and then I'll explain that clearly. So this is the code execution process of .NET, sir. If we take any programming language, this is going to happen. Normally, after writing the program in C#.NET as well as VB.NET or any other languages of .NET, so when we hit the simple execution button, you will get output within fraction of seconds. But behind the scenes, this process is going to happen. So in .NET program execution, there is two compilations option. Compilations are available. First compilation and second compilation. In first compilation, okay, source code, SSA means source code. Source code is compiled by respective language compiler. As I said that every programming language is having its own language compiler. Suppose here I am using C# source code I'm writing. So C# language compiler will come into the picture. And whenever C source code is compiled by respective language compiler, and after successful compilation, it will generate a special code that is called Microsoft Intermediate Language Code, MSIL code we can call it as MSIL, or it also called as CIL, means Common Intermediate Language. and it also called as IL, means intermediate language code. So MSIL, CIL, IL, anyone you can call. Up to here, this is first compilation. But this MSIL code is not a binary format. Generally, operating system will understand with what format? Binary format. This is still in English language format, like normal Microsoft language format only, like English only. But this need to be compiled again with the JIT compiler. So when it comes to second compilation, your main component is there in .NET, that is called CLR, Common Language Runtime. It is very, very important, sir. Without CLR, you can't even run your .NET applications, .NET programs. It's not possible. So CLR stands for Common Language Runtime. I have given here abbreviations also. CLR means Common Language Runtime here. So it's look like similarly JVM, Java Virtual Machine. How Java programmers will use JVM, Java Virtual Machine. Same here, CLR can be used like that one. Common Language Runtime, CLR. So this is having a compiler called JIT, Just-in-Time Compiler. JIT, Just-in-Time Compiler is there. So MSIL code is recompiled with a JIT compiler, and after compilation, the code is executed by CLR. Once code is executed by CLR, then CLR will produce what code? Native code. Native means what? It is a operating system understandable code, or byte code, or system understandable code, we can call it as. This is completely binary format. This can be transferred to operating system for further processing. So the code is executed by CLR in .NET ultimately. Okay, yes. So second compilation always fast when compared to first compilation, because maximum code is compiled in the first compilation itself. So minimum code is compiled in the second compilation. Like minimum 50 to 60% of the code will compile first, and 30 to 40% of the code here. This is what CLR JIT compiler. So when we choose any programming language, not only C#, like VB, J#, F#, any programming language you can choose. Whenever I execute the program, then that program automatically will process first compilation and second compilation, and finally you will get output by after operating system showing that output. Operating system role is what? Just it will process your result and it will display as an output to the end user window. So here source, SC means source code, LC means language compiler, MSIL means Microsoft Intermediate Language, CL means Common Intermediate Language, IL means Intermediate Language, and CLR means Start Common Language Runtime, JIT means Just-in-Time Compiler. So this is the code execution process of .NET sir here, clear. So now coming to this, in the code execution process, so one more thing, if you want to execute the code, then what is required? First, we have to write the code. Yes or no? After that, you have to run the code. But for writing and running the code purpose, there are two important components are there. That is called .NET Framework components. So as soon as when we download, install .NET software, immediately internally these two components gets installed. So what are the .NET Framework components means? Here you can see this. Common Language Runtime, it is one of the component, major component. And next one is BCL, Base Class Libraries only. This is also called as FCL, Framework Class Library, Base Class Library or Framework Class Library. Okay, .NET Framework components, these two are Base Class Library or Framework Class Library. I will give you a simple definition. After that, I'll explain in detail clearly. See, Base Class Libraries or Framework Class Libraries or assemblies. Any name we can call it as. Assembly means group of libraries. Class library means collection of predefined classes. What is that? Class library means was collection of predefined classes. So assembly means also group of classes only. So whenever we download, install .NET Framework software, there are plenty of libraries gets installed. Using that libraries only, we can start development of code. So I can say that without base class libraries, we cannot write .NET code, because base class libraries are building blocks of .NET software, .NET programming. Without base class libraries, we cannot write .NET code. The reason is base class libraries are building blocks of .NET framework. So if you use base class libraries, then only we can able to write .NET code. So base class libraries are very much similar to like C++ header files, like Java packages. Same how Java programmers before going to write their code, they'll include in the heading section some packages. How C++ programmers, they'll include some header files before writing the code. Same in .NET also, we have to include base class library. But the difference is in .NET, according to our application type, what application if we choose, like for example, console application if we choose, console libraries, predefined libraries already available on top of the program. No need to import manually. In case if your existing libraries are not suitable to your code, then you can import manually, simple. Okay. And these are the base class libraries. These also called as namespaces. We can call it as some extent namespaces. Okay. By default, the application type, whatever we selected, like console application means console libraries will come into the picture. Windows Forms application, if we choose, by default on the top of the program, some namespace header files will come into the picture. If you go for ASP.NET, automatically ASP.NET related namespaces will come into the picture. So this is base class libraries and common. Base class libraries are building blocks of .NET framework. Without base class libraries, you can't write .NET code. And after writing .NET code with the help of base class libraries, next step is what? We have to run the code. Yes, we have to run the code. How to run the code? Yes, without CLR component, common language runtime. Without CLR, there is no runtime environment. We cannot able to run the code compulsory. Yes, it's not possible to run the code, sir, without CLR. So CLR is the main component which is used to provide execution environment or runtime environment for .NET applications. Without CLR, we can't run the code. Without base class libraries, we can't write the code. Both are important to us. Writing the code is important and running the code is important. Yes or no? Yes, writing the code as well as running the code. Now coming to this here about base class libraries. So base class libraries in the form of two different ways. One is .exe, next one is DLL. .exe, next one is what? DLL. So .exe means main file. It is an executable file which is going to execute individually. Directly it will run. Whenever after creating any application, behind the scenes, two files gets created, .exe and DLL file. Whenever you double click on .exe, automatically your application will run. Why it will run? Because .exe is a main file I'm saying. So .exe contains a main method. This is also called as entry point of the program. So .exe contains main method, that is entry point of the program. That's the reason whenever you hit the .exe file, automatically it will be executed directly. But there is second option, is second file is there, DLL file is there, dynamic link library. Dynamic means runtime, means execution time. Link means it will add something. What it will add? Libraries. So some required libraries will add it to the .exe, who will add DLL file. So it is a supportive file, we can say. Yes, DLL is not a main file, sir. It is a supportive file. Yes, it is just supportive file only. So it will support. So DLL main purpose is what? Reusability. Reusability means what? In real-time application generally, suppose you are the programmer, some clients are giving requirements to you. You can develop the code for the client requirement. Suppose bank is there. Bank is our client. So bank transactions almost all same. So logic code is somewhat little bit different. So once we prepare the logic code for one of the bank applications, that logic code you can able to reuse for multiple banks also with a little modification or no modification. Because the advantage is what? If I provide reusability for every client requirement, banking sector application point of view, for every bank, logic code almost all same, slightly difference. That slight difference you can change it. So imagine that if there is no reusability concept, for every bank application purpose, we need to start writing the code from scratch. So that will take a lot of time. So we need to save the time in real time. So that's the case what the developers will do. Whatever the application they implement for banking code, that For that banking code application point of view, they will create a DLL file. So once they are having DLL files for previous application, that DLL file can be attached to a new application with little modification or no modification according to client requirements. So you need not to rewrite the code from scratch. Already code was implemented for one of those applications. That application code we are going to reuse same kind of application with small modifications. So it will save a lot of time. So real-time implementation, maximum DLL files through they will implement. Even in our coding concepts also, I'll show you clearly how to prepare DLL file, how to reuse that DLL file into other applications. Means, for example, I create a DLL file in console application that I can able to reuse into Windows forms, that I can reuse into web applications, anywhere it is required. So we'll save a lot of time so that it is supportive file. And it will not directly run, sir. DLL file will not run. Why? Because it don't have any main method or entry points. So these two files, .exe file, DLL file, under comes into base class libraries. So base class libraries without, we cannot able to write .NET code compulsory. Base class libraries are building blocks of .NET framework. Without base class libraries, we can't write .NET code. So base class libraries are main importance of .NET applications, because plenty of libraries will come from this area only. After writing complete code with the help of base class libraries, which is required again to execute your program, CLR is required. Common language runtime, you can say. The name itself, the definition is there. .NET supports multiple languages like C#, VB, J#, F#, so many. And every language code purpose, CLR will provide runtime environment. So it is common language runtime. But now you can see it will provide runtime environment for .NET applications. CLR categorized into 4 subcomponents. What are the subcomponents? CLR is the main component, which will, while running the .NET code using CLR, internally CLR will take supports from its subcomponents only. What are the subcomponents here? 4. CLS, one is common language specification. CTS, next one is common type system. GC, garbage collector. And next fourth one is JIT, just-in-time compiler. These are the 4 subcomponents which are associated with main component. So every component, subcomponents of CLR, every component is having its own rules and regulations, and it will help to the CLR while executing our program. So CLS means common language specification. You know, every programming language is having its own syntactical rules and regulations. One programming language cannot understand other programming syntactical rules and regulations. For example, I have a C#.NET. I can write C#.NET language code only. Declaration of the variable and the functions and all. Again, VB.NET, syntactical rules regulation different. JSharp.NET, rules and regulations are different. But all the programming language rules and regulations, CLR cannot understand. So that's the reason at the time of program execution, CLS will convert all programming language syntactical rules and regulations into CLR understandable format. Similarly, CTS also there. CTS means common type system. Common type system is also called as data type system. So data types are very important in every programming language. Data types are used to represent which type of data you are going to store in the variables. So integer type means int you have to declare. String type means string you have to declare. Float means float you have to declare. So every programming language is having its own data type system. One programming language cannot understand other programming language data type system, because while executing multiple languages using CLR, CLR is having its own data types. So C# data types, VB data types, all languages data types will be converted into common language runtime data type system. Who will do? CTS will do. So CTS will take responsible to convert all programming language data type system mechanism into CLR data type system mechanism. But generally in .NET, especially C#.NET, data type system can be of 2 types, like value type and reference type. I'll talk about value type, reference type in later session in great detail. So Value type means the value which stores directly into the memory. For example, int a equals to 10. 10 value will go to where, in which memory? A memory. So value type will work with stack mechanism. Stack mechanism in the sense first in, last out, last in, first out, like that. For value type, memory will allot at compilation time only. But there is reference type is there. Reference type means, for example, int b equals to a. I have already a value 10, but a value I'm going to refer to which variable? B only. B will called reference type. For reference type, memory will allot at what? Runtime only. Runtime in the sense program execution time. And reference type will work with heap mechanism. Means no rule. Wherever the memory space is there it is going to be randomly allocated. That is heap mechanism. We'll talk about stack and heap mechanism in later session in the collection part of .NET only. So CLS will take responsible to convert all programming language syntactical rules and regulations into CLR understandable format. CTS will take responsible to convert all programming language data type system into CLR data type system format. In that way, these subcomponents will work. And third subcomponent is there, which is very important. Behind the scenes, it will work, garbage collector. So main purpose of garbage collector is what? Automatic memory management. Generally, whenever we write logic code for our application, compulsory many objects we will create. For every object is required some memory, sir. In the olden days, especially in old languages like Pascal, COBOL or something, so programmers were write a lot of memory management code also. So, but nowadays, every programming language is having built-in garbage collector option, which will take care of memory management compulsory. Okay, which will take care of memory management. Yes, this is the new batch, Mr. Rahul. So yesterday only we completed one demo session. Today is the second session. Okay. So garbage collector means automatic memory management. So if garbage collector is there, as a programmer, we need not to concentrate on memory management task code. So according to our application, which objects are required some memory, garbage collector will allot. Which objects are not required, that will be destroyed. So automatic memory management means useful objects will get the memory and unuseful objects will destroy the memory location. So you should delete that unused objects. Means we have to do memory cleanup activities. So memory cleanup activities will do by garbage collector only. So this is automatic memory management. So generally many objects will be placed in the application. Sometimes some objects will not be useful to run our application. For that objects, we have to deallocate the memory. For useful objects, we have to allocate the memory. This process will take care by garbage collector only. So actually garbage collector is having a special engine called optimized engine. That engine will divide automatically objects into two categories: objects in use, idled objects. Idled objects means garbage. These objects will remove from the memory. These objects will keep in the memory. This will do by garbage collector only. So once garbage collector is there, you need not to do anything for memory management purpose. It will take care everything. But while executing your code only with CLR, garbage collector will take this responsibility. And just-in-time compiler is a compiler which is used in second compilation of .NET program execution. These four subcomponents are available under CLR, is the main component. So this is complete introduction of .NET only. Tomorrow we'll start with C#.NET basic introduction, and we will start coding part for sure in tomorrow's session. This is only theoretical part. And once I start coding part, so from there onwards, we will keep on writing the coding with Visual Studio with C#.NET syllabus I'll start covering. So this week completely C# only I'll cover. As I said that next week onwards, Monday to Thursday C#.NET, and every weekends like Friday and Saturday SQL Server sessions I'll continue. So that's all from my side today. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask me now.
Mohan sir, why I cannot see the chat option?
No, I have chat option here.
Sir, I also don't able to see the chat option, sir.
Okay, no problem. I think the software which you install, go to training software, it might be different. Okay, it is newer version I think you installed. No worries, once you get the short link, okay, only demo purpose, every day this long link I'm giving, no, every day how to register with your name and phone number, all those things. Even I also do this. And next, once I complete 4-5 sessions, we will give you short link. In that short link, there is a clear chart option is there. So whatever I type that, you will able to see that. You can
Sir,
also type that.
if we get some error in the code, so there is also option to share for screen and show to you also, sir. Not sir.
No, yes, we can able to show that. At that time, I will give you as an organizer. So as a presenter, so once I make you presenter, you can share your screen. We can rectify the issue also. Again, you should close the screen. Then my screen will be visible to everyone. That option is available.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
So after your class, how long we should practice, because we are working, right, and busy life.
Busy life means compulsory. If you want to get a job on .NET, you must and should practice. How many hours means at least 45 days, 45 minutes or 1 hour for every day. It's enough. Or else you can sit weekends, Saturday and Sunday at least 3-4 hours. That's enough. It depends on how the way you understand the concept. If you are the student level, okay, entry level, you are the beginner, so you need to practice more, at least 2 hours per day. It depends on not only hours based, or you are already employee. So usually, if you can able to understand means that only half an hour, 1 hour you can look at the code. That will be better.
Sir,
Sir,
you
we
can
will,
give the notes
sir,
also,
we
sir.
will get the task every day.
Yeah, based on the topic, once I start the coding, I'll give you slowly simple examples and intermediate level example task and high level. It depends on topic. I used to give the task, and same task we can do that. I can post in our WhatsApp group also. We have already .NET group. There are so many students are there, around near 100 students are there. You can also join once you enroll for this course. And every day material, once you register with this course, you will get complete C# .NET a console application material. You will get at a time, and videos daily. I'll download the videos and I'll send to you after finishing the class. Half an hour, you will get video on the same date, sir.
So, sir, we can download the video in our local system.
Yeah, sure. That I'll give permission later, but not beginning level. You can able to download. You can able to watch lifetime also.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Are you going to make any real-time application also in this course?
Yeah, that
Like
in ASP.NET, we will prepare some project kind of things. We will take our own requirements and we will work on that. We will make one project with the database connectivity, with ADV.NET, all these things options. How to post the
in,
So,
record.
in MVC
knowledge
also,
of HTML,
like
CSS.
framework and all.
Yeah, in
Uh,
MVC, all the same thing with MVC project and ASP.NET Core project and Web API. All these things will do that.
okay, sir.
The knowledge of HTML and CSS is required for this.
Yes, I said that already in the demo session, last session. HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, jQuery basics are required. That I will cover 1 week session when I start ASP.NET Core before only. So because of Bootstrap code, mainly we use in the ASP.NET Core for designing the website. That knowledge I'll give you. No need to worry about that.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir, I want to ask that Oracle syntax are changed from SQL Server, or like it is similar kind of like
See,
syntax we.
every database query syntax is almost all same, purpose is same, but slight syntaxes changes are there. SQL syntax are different, MySQL syntaxes are different, Oracle different. That is, some slight changes are there, but concepts are same. Like if you take joins, views, stored procedures, triggers, indexers, everywhere it is there. In Oracle is there, in PLSQL is there, in TSQL is there, everywhere. But syntax is slightly different. But we will focus on completely SQL Server syntaxes only. SQL Server developer content I will deliver.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So that's all for today. So have a nice time. Tomorrow we'll see
Sir,
at the same.
one question.
Yeah,
Sir,
yeah,
sir, whether you are going to assist us for installing the software,
sure, sure.
Visual
I'll
Studio
assist.
and the SQL Server,
Sure, sure.
because
You
I have
have
Sir,
to.
installed
actually,
with Visual Studio. Now I am in the page of whether I have to select the product Azure Development or ASP.NET and Web Development, install while downloading or install.
Yeah,
I'm
you
on the
once you click on install, then you have some options. No, some panel is there.
yes
In
sir,
that panel,
yes.
yeah, you can select C#.NET Development, ASP.NET Development. That's enough. That is, you can activate the checkbox. You can proceed it. That's enough.
Okay,
Yeah.
desktop development, right? Two
Yes, sir.
options.
Yeah.
sir, actually, I'm the beginner. So, like today's class, little bit I didn't understand. So, how can I proceed? Yesterday's video, do I get?
Yesterday video it was there in on YouTube actually, so they were uploaded. Today video also they'll upload. How to watch my videos? Just you can see this. You can go to YouTube, Google, and YouTube,
Okay.
and simply you can click on this YouTube link, and you can type in the YouTube search also DurgaSoft.
Okay.
See DurgaSoft, you can type DurgaSoft. DurgaSoft, you can type it, and you can see this is the official YouTube channel Durga Software Solution, and you can go to videos, and they were uploaded my video previously what I covered. This is .NET Demo 1 14 hours ago. Today video also they will upload like 4 5 videos they will upload every batch. So you can watch this.
Sir, actually, I'm the beginner. So, can I survive? Like, can I learn this? Does it make any difficult?
No, you can see you can able to learn anything. Only the thing is your effort should be strong. So
Like, any basic is needed for this to learn?
no
Like
no
any
no
other
base
language?
no basics are required because whatever C basics we will cover in C#.NET beginning session only. No issues. You can able to learn, you can able to survive. See anything you can. What is your background? Can you tell me please what you are belongs to CSC or IT
BSc
or any?
mathematics, sir. Actually, BSc I have done. BSc computers. After that, I did MSc mathematics.
Who
Now
suggest
I
you
am
to
working
learn?
as, but I
Who
want
su-
to shift, like change my career.
yeah, that's what. Who suggests you to learn .NET?
Like one of my relative is there. He is working actually like a team head.
Okay,
He
okay,
is at, so
okay.
he suggested me to.
He is going to give support to you. Then obviously you can
Yes.
able to learn. But if you ask me to suggest you people, then I can say you better to learn Python nowadays. Python is completely it's ultimate programming language to
Okay.
settle quickly. If you go for Python, that will be better. But because .NET, there are many of subjects are there. No, you can see 1, 2,
That's
3, 4,
like
5,
any
6.
any other like background support, like other languages. Do I need to learn, or else does it enough
No,
like
no need
to
to learn
continue?
anything. Directly, you can able to continue from. You can start with .NET only. No issues.
Oh, this course, if I can do, can I will able to do the work or like little bit, like any queries, any other language is not required, right?
No language. You can come with what we can say with empty mind. You can go with full mind.
That's what said. I have that query whether I, because today I didn't, little bit I understood because I have a knowledge of C plus plus, but it was long back. So
No problem. No
that's
problem. Even I'm asking. No, even I'm telling. If you don't aware of C++, not a matter. You can learn from .NET starting. That will be good. So slowly you'll understand. So your practice is completely required. So once you start practice, that will be good.
okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So we'll see tomorrow on same link. So we'll start coding part in tomorrow after completion of just a basic introduction of C#. Okay. Have a nice day.